Oh, so good.
I love it. Love to see it. Hello, everyone. Good morning. This is the Next Issue podcast. As you can see here, we're down two of our members. Kyle is doing some theater stuff, I think.
That's what it sounded like. Yeah, I think stuff for the upcoming
Yeah,
film
and
fest.
and Clay's off shooting Fast X2 with Vin Diesel and Jason Momoa. So
Man, those photos he sends us behind the scenes
yeah,
are incredible.
I just think he's the perfect person to play Jason Momoa's weed dealer.
We've got to make that canon somehow. That's
But
incredible.
but But what he hasn't, this might be a spoiler for Fast X2. He's actually part of the family. He's
Oh,
infiltrated Momoa, so it's gonna be real interesting. I love that this is out of context for you in so many levels,
yeah.
right? Because
Just,
first of all, you've never seen the movies, and even if you had, you haven't seen the latest one.
mm-mm.
So yeah, so it could very well be true.
This feels like when Clay and I, just because I know he's a fan as well, talk to people about all the Planet of the Apes movies. If you haven't seen them, it's like, what the fuck are you talking about?
Yeah. We do want to start, unfortunately, with some sad news this week. Legendary artist John Romita Sr. passed away. I believe it was Tuesday night.
Yeah.
And we saw on Twitter his son John Romita Jr. posted about it. So yeah, that's quite a loss in the world of comics and just overall. I mean, but yeah, it was a very sad time. He's an artist that kind of redefined Spider-Man and has a great legacy. Also, from everything I've heard, he was just a lovely person. Like, sometimes you see, like, a little maybe controversy, or like maybe just like maybe they were a gruff person, maybe there was somebody that was kind of like not a bad person, but just like somebody that wasn't like very personable in real life,
Yeah.
like a curmudgeon
Cantankerous,
some type.
yeah. So,
We've heard of artists that they're fine people, but they're like kind of curmudgeon-y and stuff. There, so
yes.
but from everything I've seen, John Romita Sr. was a very nice individual. So it's um, a very sad passing for sure. So we wanted to kick off the show with I found a short interview, or I guess part of an interview he did with Sci-Fi Wire a few years ago. So this is a little old, but it's about some of his favorite issues of comics, redefining Spider-Man, like all that stuff. And I kind of wanted to kick off the show with that, just to, I mean, I'm sure it'll give us a little something to talk about, but also just because it's he leaves behind a great legacy. So
Yeah.
let's take a look here. Let me see this one. No, I like the other one better. These layouts, I love playing with the layouts. All right, so let's take a look at this interview with John Romita Sr. You can hear it.
Yeah.
I'm Mike Avila with Sci-Fi Wire, and I don't like to use the term legend too often because sometimes it can be overused. But in this case, it's perfectly deserved. I'm here with the legendary comic book artist, John Romita Sr., Jazzy John Romita, if you don't mind me calling you the Jazzy one. Thank you for joining us.
Oh, it's a pleasure.
So the Art of Spider-Man exhibit is coming in June to New York City. Your artwork from your initial run on The Amazing Spider-Man is going to be a focal point of that. Tell me about seeing your work on display in an exhibit like this and what it means to you.
It'll be something new to me. I haven't seen a lot of times where it's on display.
The original art pages that you created, a lot of fans don't get a chance to see those pages. One, because they're locked away in the hands of collectors who have paid a pretty penny for them. But a lot of people tend to overlook that aspect of the production process. But what do you think that shows about the work that you put into the title back then?
It's interesting. It sounds like something special was being done, but we were just making a living. The urge to make it as good as possible was so that we would get another payday.
So when you came on board Amazing Spider-Man, you took over for Steve Ditko. You took over for Ditko, who had really created a very idiosyncratic, very unique style of Spider-Man. First few issues, you managed a gradual transition in the art style,
It was hard.
but eventually you found your way. And your Spider-Man is very different from Ditko's. How would you describe the difference between what Steve did and what you did with Peter Parker and with Spider-Man and everyone
Well,
else?
some of it was technique because I was a brush man. When I used to do the romances, I worked with a brush, and I could get some nice thick and thin accents and good clothing textures and things like that. Ditko was a pen man, and I felt obliged to do Spider-Man and 9 panels like Ditko because that's what the fans are used to. And I tried for the first year to use a pen, which was hard for me. I lost my flair, but I tried it, and I think maybe in the beginning of the second year I started to cheat and use a brush a little bit more. And you could see my stuff was somewhat did go like for 6 or 7 months, but slowly but surely I had to put some brush technique in there for weight. And it's slowly but surely Stan said, you know what? Don't try anymore. Do it the way you want to do it.
Is there a specific issue, Spider-Man, that you remain proudest of?
Two continuing stories, 108 and 109.
That's impressive, and I bet you it's going to surprise a lot of people. I would think most people would go back to issue 50, Spider-Man No More, or something like that. But that's
Well, those are this is because of the technique. I'll tell you why. Because I always felt like a visitor on Spider-Man. Like I was always doing Ditko somehow. I was trying to keep the character consistent. So I didn't plunge in there as John Romita. I was doing my duty as Spider-Man. So all the early ones, I'm doing duty. Well, by the time 108 and 109 comes around, when I'm doing my second turn on Spider-Man, then I'm different. I'm a different person. I enjoyed myself. I took my number 5 brush out and I did Milton Caniff all over those pages. You'll see more blacks and slashing clothing lines than ever I did in Spider-Man. And there are scenes in there that I'm very proud of. I wish I had kept the originals.
Man, that is a great
Mhm.
video.
I could watch him talk about that stuff for like the whole stream.
Yeah, same. I need to add that video to a class lecture.
It's on the document.
Perfect.
And you can probably find the full interview, but yeah, you can kind of go through it. Dude, like first of all, whenever I listen to creators, I kind of love that they love different things about comics than like fans do.
Yeah.
Sometimes they love the same things, but like for him, it was about putting his best work out there. And at first, it seems like that meant trying to be Steve Ditko.
Right.
He wanted to make sure that it was consistent for the reader. And then, but you can tell like from like he wanted to be himself on those pages. So I'm very happy that he eventually got to, got the go ahead to like just do himself. And I mean, I think we all really enjoyed what that came out to be.
Well, because he ended up making his own iconic version of Spider-Man, right? I mean, I remember, I don't remember if it's in Sean Howe's book, Marvel Comics Untold Story. One of the histories of Marvel in that era is that when Ditko left, there were grave concerns about what was going to happen with Spider-Man because he was such a tentpole character, and Ditko had made him so iconically Ditko.
Yeah.
And so Romita Sr. had a really tough job stepping into that. I mean, I found it quite powerful to hear him even say like that first year, or he even said on his whole run. I kind of wonder about that, but that first year he felt like like not a stranger. What's the word he used?
Yeah, like he was kind of intruding in their work, right?
Exactly, right. Yeah. So I don't know. That's wow. That's just incredible.
Yeah, it's incredible. So, yeah, we definitely encourage everyone to go read some Romita Spider-Man.
Yeah.
You can probably read the ones that he mentioned were his favorite, 108 and 109. I don't think I've read those. I think like the interviewer. I also kind of just think of that iconic Spider-Man No More cover, which if you're gonna pull that out, I love it. I love that you just kind of have that handy somewhere.
No. Sorry,
Oh, okay.
I was trying to see if there was actually a Romita Senior Artist Edition of Spider-Man.
Oh,
From
okay.
IDW.
I bet you there is. And
I
if there
feel
isn't,
like I've seen one. Oh yeah, there is.
Yeah.
There's two of them actually.
I mean, that makes perfect sense.
Yeah, let's see.
So.
But no, I don't have that issue just on hand. I mean, I probably do in a trade on the shelf behind me.
By happenstance, the next day, Marvel's been doing a lot of facsimile reprints. So they reprinted Spider-Man 121. Now, Romita Sr. didn't. He's not the artist on this.
Oh,
he's an inker on it.
Guys,
but as he was talking about like the darks and like the heavier inks and stuff, like, you know, you kind of go in here and wonder, like, because there's two inkers on this issue, and this is the issue where when Stacy dies. I think that's why I don't know why they reprinted. I don't know how Marvel picks like what they reprint.
I don't either. They make sense sometimes. Then
sometimes
other
it's
times,
like movie related, but like
right.
here's the iconic pages of like, oh snap.
Yeah.
And then that's the ads. I do love the ads. So.
I love the ads. It takes me back to my childhood. There it is.
The night when Stacy died.
Oh, man.
So yeah, if you go to your shop this week, they might still have some of these. These are kind of cool. Like, I just love having these facsimile reprints because, like, I don't think I'll ever have the real thing, or maybe.
Yeah. No. There's a guy I game online with who's in Canada, and he is a big comic collector. And every week when we game, he will post photos of his new like CGC slabs that he got, and it's pretty incredible. He's really getting some good stuff. So, but that is definitely out of my wheelhouse. So I have a tiny, well, we both do a tiny smidgen of like original art that we can afford, but so
I did get a new page, and I don't have it with me. It's actually out there. I did get something at the show. I got a Fernando Blanco page from Captain America, which I don't think I have any Captain America original art, so that was kind of cool. I'll post it on the show. I've been posting a lot about the conventions, and
I've seen those. But do you want to like any highlights you want to talk about?
Sure. Yeah, I mean, so I think we have a lot of. I did post some videos, and we'll have more of the panels and stuff. I love doing those kind of walk around the convention videos.
Yeah.
Just because I know a lot of people, they can't go to conventions, or they're not going to conventions at the moment, or whatever the case may be. Like, so when I get the chance, and I got to do those early in the morning because it is exhausting. I walked over like 45,000 steps in those 3 days.
Oh my God. Wow. Yeah.
And I'm somebody that barely hits 5,000 a day, like, on a regular work day. So yeah.
If I make my desk stand, I might hit my 10,000, but that's just shuffling back and forth.
There was 2 panels for James Tynion, and like one of them was for Department of Truth and World Tree, which are more the conspiracy type of books. That one was with the artists of Martin Simmons and Fernando Blanco that are respectively in those books.
Nice.
And then he had another panel about the world of Something's Killing the Children, which I have video for both. One of them is already out. One of them will be out later, probably next week. Those were really cool. Like, just listening to James Tynion and his, like, all the creators that he works with, talk about the creative stuff and all that. Like, it's really cool. Like, I really love, I don't know, James Tynion seems like a really cool guy that really loves doing comics, and now that he's kind of really doing what he wants to do, like, no, I don't think he didn't want to do like stuff at DC, like all the Batman stuff and all that. I just think he would rather, like, his creator-owned stuff feels like another level of like a different gear. So
yeah,
That was really cool. And really just talking to creators, to the artists, like about stuff. I did a few shorts of like talking to creators about other people, like who they're following, because I always find that interesting.
Mhm.
I think meeting Mitch Gerards, who's like
Oh,
we're all a fan of him.
yeah,
He's
that's awesome.
yeah, such a cool guy. We're both fans of How Did This Get Made, so that was fun to talk about as well. Um,
Who are the? I always want to know who the fans are. That well, no, never mind. Go on.
no, tell me. Well,
No. I got him conflated. He's not the one. He's the artist.
yeah. Oh,
Yeah. Okay. I always I conflate him with who's the writer he always works
Tom
with. That
King?
was in
Tom
say it
King.
again? Oh,
Tom-
Tom King. Never mind. I'm way off. Just keep going.
Okay.
This is what always happens Saturday mornings when I've only had half a cup of coffee. So
So interestingly enough, one of the creator that he really is following right now is from the Human Target. What's his name?
oh god, yeah.
Greg Smallwood.
Okay.
Greg Smallwood. So because he said that, and you can watch the clip on our channel. Says that like he's influenced by all the other stuff, but like he feels like he's doing it better. And I'm like, I mean, you guys are both pretty awesome. So I don't know. But yeah,
they're both. I mean, they're both kind of perfect artists for Tom King, right?
Yeah.
But then also, so is also Chartarier, and
yeah.
you know, yeah. So he's. I got to give Tom King credit. He's really not. He's one of those rare comic artists that isn't associated with a genre necessarily, right? If you think of like, oh god, it's so early in the morning. It's really not.
Yeah. No, but I know what you're saying.
Yeah.
Like,
Okay. Yeah. All right.
I think, and I think Clay would say this is the best. Like he's just like sad comics.
Yeah. Right. Exactly. I would say sad, thoughtful comics.
Yeah.
These comics always make you. There's always a point where you're kind of like, "What the fuck is going on?" You know.
He's like a little bit like Mark Russell, where there's always a message.
That's
but there's also like
yeah.
emotions attached to it. Where Mark Russell, I feel he's a little more satirical and a little bit more cynical about what they're talking about, but it's also just to kind of get like a different message out there.
You know, I'm going to throw some shade here because I think that's such a great point. Mark Russell, Tom King are both really good, but like you said, that emotional, I think, character-driven aspect from it, that's no longer what I get from Hickman. Hickman seems to be all about thought and concept, right? I don't know. I'm really souring on Hickman after that reboot of the Ultimate Universe.
This is a man who wrote the book God is Dead. So I mean, I don't know.
Right? Yeah.
And then East of West. So
which and the thing is, his Image stuff I really like.
Yeah.
I mean, the Manhattan Project. I mean, those are all like really good, fun, again, kind of thoughtful books. But man, he goes to Marvel and then he's just like, I'm just gonna. What did I say in chat? It's like he's taken all the big storylines from Marvel and he read them and his thought is, I can do it better. And then he just reboots every single one of them. Secret War, Ultimate Universe, you know, like just
we'll see next week. Ultimate
I'm not going to read it. Even with Brian Hitch on art, I'm not going to read it.
Oh man, so. I missed a lot of that. I've never really read a lot of Ultimate Universe, so like I feel like this is going to be.
Oh, then yeah, that's probably a good way to jump in. So,
well, speaking of that, let me see. I guess one last highlight from convention, then we'll talk. This will be a good segue into comics.
Yeah, totally.
I finally got. So I had this cover by Jay Lee.
Nice.
I got Jay's signature last year at Dallas Comic Con. He was also there today. I mean, this year. But now I also have Tate Brumbo, who's a writer, James Tinian, and Werther Del Hera, who's the co-creators of Something Killing the Children, and they all worked on this House of Slaughter. So like.
That is awesome.
I really like that, and it's a special cover too. I don't remember how I got it, but it was like a special what is it? Oh, it's for local comic shop day. So like this is also
nice.
Just a regular cover.
Oh, dude, that's perfect.
Yeah, so it was really nice. It was really nice to get that, and then talk to all the creators and stuff. Right. Although I did tell Tinian that I am forever behind on all his books because he does so many of them. Like, just when I'm almost catching up with one of them, a new one comes out, and then I want to check. Like, this is just stuff over at Boom. Like, he has a bunch of Image books. He has that blue book at Dark Horse. So yeah, it is. I don't know how he's always just working on something.
He reminds me of Mark Waid in the 90s. There was this kind of joke about Waid in the 90s where the dude was just writing, I think, like 10, 12 books at a time, just knocking them out. So
all right, well, let's talk about a little bit of stuff that we've been watching, reading, whatever. Josh, I'm gonna let you get started because I got a bunch of stuff, but a lot of it's I already got some of my thoughts on the channel. So let's go to you, and then we'll kind of bounce from there.
Let's see. Should I start with comics or watching first?
Let's do movies, and then we'll go back to comics.
So, not a ton of stuff, but two kind of big things. So in anticipation of the Flash movie coming out, I wanted to go back and rewatch the Keaton Batmans, and it's fortuitous because my daughter hasn't ever seen them. So we watched Batman '89 like 2-3 nights ago. Man, that movie holds up. It is like it's funny. I've kind of come like full circle on it because I seem to remember, I saw it in the theater when it came out, loved it.
Yeah,
was there for the whole phenomenon, right? That it was. And then I probably about 10 years ago, I rewatched it and it felt very campy to me.
Oh, interesting.
But it was in the midst of the Nolan movies, which are just so dark and grounded.
Yeah.
And so I'm glad that I had that space away because in rewatching it just a few nights ago, I kind of came back where I was like, this isn't really campy. It's just good. It's just really, really good, solid storytelling and filmmaking. And so it just holds up so well. The style, the music is all good. The Prince songs. I mean, there's not anything bad in it. And then I think in a few nights, we're going to watch Batman Returns, which is quite honestly the one, I think I've only seen it twice. I saw it in the theater upon release and maybe once on video since then. And I just remember having this kind of like very bad reaction to it because it is more Burton-y than Batman '89 is. Yeah. And I have a kind of visceral reaction to too many villains in the kitchen syndrome, right? This is why I really like it when you get a superhero movie. And to their credit, the MCU, I think, has found a way to kind of skirt this. But I really dislike it when you had a traditional superhero movie that was like, we're throwing 3-4 bad guys into the mix and and it just feels very convoluted. Yeah. That's why I think Spider-Man 2 with Garfield failed. That's why we all know that like Spider-Man 3, the Tobey Maguire one, is just a hot stinking pile of garbage. I think those films had too many things going for it. And so initially with Batman Returns, that was my feeling, but I'm really going into it with kind of wide eyes again because I love Michelle Pfeiffer's performance. I really want to revisit the Penguin in it because I think it was such a different take on the character. And I've been watching so much Sunny that every time that he's just super gross eating stuff in it, I just think to him eating that fish and Batman Returns, and I'm like, all right, I'm kind of here for this.
Okay.
So anyway, so I'll probably have more to report in a week after we watch that. But we're all setting up for the Flash.
Well, great, because that's a great way for me to plug that later on in this weekend we're gonna have a video of 5 movies you should probably check out before going to see the Flash.
Perfect.
So
what are the other 3?
Well, I don't want to give it away.
Oh, okay, fair. That's fair.
But like you already mentioned a couple of them, so
okay.
You probably know. I mean, it's no big secret, but I mean, yeah.
As you reach over here.
Yeah, right. But yeah. So I guess while we're flashing around, let me just briefly talk about it. And I have a full review on the channel, but
Yeah, I'm
I was
excited to hear
lucky.
this.
I was lucky that I got to go to a screening last week, so I watched the movie before going to the convention, and I really enjoyed it. I think, of course, there's the whole Ezra Miller of it all. That
Of
you
it
know,
all.
so if anyone who doesn't want to see this movie, I completely understand.
Yeah.
But I'm also not going to like make anyone that wants to go watch it feel bad, because I don't think that's my place either. Like, everybody kind of should have their own opinion on that. But yeah, I mean, I quite enjoyed it. Now, granted, I was with an audience that was like seeking out the movie in advance, so maybe we're a little biased. Um, and I would definitely go watch. Like, I want to go watch it again in a bigger screen, because we went to a screening at the Angelica, so they have nice theaters, but it's not like the IMAX Dolby screen. So
Right.
I think the movie would benefit from that experience as well. So if you're gonna watch it, might as well watch it in the biggest screen you can.
Oh, that's cool.
So, and stay all the way till the end. There's an end credit scene all the way at the end of the credits. But yeah, it was a very interesting experience, as far as like, it definitely feels like we're closing out a chapter in this world, but also, like, we're looking forward to seeing what happens next. So it's a I think Machete did a really good job capturing that feeling, and it's also very light-hearted in tone. Like, it compared to like a lot of the other stuff.
That's good. Yeah.
So yeah, but my only thing that, and I said this in the review, like, this is Ezra Miller's movie, so like, there's a lot of them in this movie. So if that's not your cup of tea, then maybe maybe you're not gonna enjoy it. So as you've seen in the trailers, there's not one but two flashes
Two,
in this
right?
movie. So
It's Parent Trap, the movie, and in this case, the parent is both his dead mom and
yeah,
Michael Keaton.
yeah. We got
Yeah,
Carlos in the
sorry.
chat. The Flash doesn't excite me, probably because I haven't enjoyed the recent DC movies, but I will still watch it. I mean, that's kind of what Warner Brothers is counting on, that you always give them one last chance. So,
and I'll say this, Carlos, I was in the same boat until that trailer with Michael Keaton, and then I was like, fuck, I'm in. Like, I just want to see him play Batman again, basically. Like, that's what I'm going for.
yeah.
And all the Flash stuff is kind of like the salad, so
Yeah, I told my buddy Omar this yesterday, because he told me he was going. Like, if you're going because you want to see Michael Keaton, you're definitely gonna get your money's worth out of that.
Oh, good. Okay. Does it feel like a stunt though? That's the, like, is it
No, I don't think so.
integral to the plot?
It feels earned. I think
Okay,
it feels
good.
well
Okay.
earned in the movie.
All right.
So here, let me tell you his reaction. He texted me when he got out of the movie. Bro, changed my life. OMG. I lost my shit when so and so happened. That was so badass. Wow, incredible movie. So don't take it from me. This is Omar's review.
For God's sakes, put quotes like that on movie posters. Come on, that's incredible.
I was told them the
Yeah.
Warner Brothers should reach out to you to put their on the poster. So, but yeah, check it out. Well, like I said, we have a full review in the channel for The Flash, where I talk a little bit more. It's still non-spoilers, because I don't want to spoil anything for anyone. So,
Okay.
what else? I think the next thing you're going to talk about, we can get into a little bit more spoilers on that one.
I think so. Again, my daughter and I, she's the person I go see all these awesome films with. We went to go see Across the Spider-Verse, and boy howdy, I gotta tell you, that movie, yeah, please, there will be spoilers.
You've been warned. Spoilers for Across the Spider-Verse. You've had 3 weeks to watch that one.
Yeah, here's the thing I love about what they pulled off in that movie, particularly Lord Miller, but the directors, the animation team, the style, but in particular the story. If they had only made Into the Spider-Verse, even with the end credit scenes, it could have been a solid one and done, right?
Mm-hmm.
Let's say there's an alternate universe where that movie did not do well, and that was it, right? Then you go see
The worst possible future.
the worst possible. Yeah, exactly. Then you go see Across the Spider-Verse and realize, oh my God, this is a super tight trilogy that they had planned from the get-go. Or at least it felt that way by the end of the movie, right?
Right.
And I was just bowled over at how they really pulled off the impossible. And I want to give credit to Sony and the creators. I know that they kind of spoiled this when the first reviews came out, but if you had gone opening night and got to the end of that movie and saw the to be continued, I would have been utterly shocked. I've been like, there's a third one? You know, like, what is happening? It is so
Okay.
good.
I was gonna ask you about that because I went into this film knowing there was gonna be there was a part 1 of 2. But
I knew that as well.
I think a large majority of the movie watching audience, they don't take stuff apart like we do. Like
Right.
I feel like we're kind of on different levels, but we're kind of really on top of this stuff, like what, like with news and announcements and stuff like that. And I think even the first trailer, I believe, it said part 1. I don't know if they were gonna.
Did it? I
think
don't
so.
recall that.
I had to go back and check. I remember doing a reaction video for it.
Okay.
And then it said, that this was going to be somewhere in there. It said that it was going to be a part 1. But yeah, a lot of people, like, I've seen reactions and people are wild. Like they're just kind of like streaming this from their phones while they're at the theater. And it is insane, like that's happening. But if you wanted to watch this movie, you could just go to TikTok and watch it. You'll find the stream.
Please don't do that. This is absolutely a big screen cinematic experience.
It deserves to be watched in the biggest screen possible.
Yeah.
But yeah, that was really interesting, that reaction from the crowd. But I completely get it because I know not everyone. Like sometimes I'll talk to, now that I've been going back to the office and stuff, like I'll talk to coworkers and after years of talking, like the only people I would talk media with would be like you guys or whatever Discord I'm on or something like that.
Yeah.
Where we're hyper focused on comics and movies and stuff. But then you talk to people that are not, like, and it feels like it's jarring. Like it's a jarring thing because you're like, what do you mean you don't know this? Like this is the most popular thing. It's all over social media and Twitter. Like, so it's a really interesting experience.
Well, and I do want to give credit because I'm usually the one that will bitch and moan when a movie or even a comic, any story, feels like it's not giving enough time to those slower, emotional, character-driven moments. And Across the Spider-Verse just lets those moments breathe. And I will confess that I was probably about halfway through the movie and kind of feeling like this is a little slow, right? But it was only slow because they were really letting those character-driven moments happen. I mean, the sequences between Gwen and her dad, the sequences at Miles' dad's party.
Yeah.
I mean, those are all really good and necessary. And I was so happy to see them, even if it kind of made the film a little too long. Anyway, I don't know. I just want to give credit where credit's due when they don't trim those things or cut those things short for the sake of more action or a shorter film, right?
Yeah.
It really was absolutely necessary. And I loved it. I loved seeing it. The character development in this movie is so good. And it really, it ups the stakes because, again, I don't want to spoil it and I won't, but the hook at the end of the movie took the first film and all the character development in the rest of this movie to just kind of hang on you as a cliffhanger by the end of it. And it was really good.
Yeah.
Yeah. So just props, total props to them.
Yeah. I really love that opening sequence with Wen,
Mhm.
like with the drumming and stuff. Like it really felt, it was a good way to recap everything that happened, but from a different point of view.
Yep.
The art choices, just everything that happens in Wen's dimension. I think I love the bleeding watercolors and the
Yes, and how
changes.
they get brighter and brighter as she has that talk with her dad. It
I
just
know
oh,
when they hug, right?
yes. Oh,
Yeah,
it's so
yeah.
good. It was I think I said this after watching the first film. I want this to win every award,
Yeah,
right? I mean, it is an animation
Mhm.
masterpiece. It is, and it was so funny because actually all the trailers, we went to a really early showing. It was like a kid-friendly showing. And all the trailers are for the upcoming animated movies like I Was a Teenage Kraken and stuff. And even like Elemental, the Pixar stuff, it all looked very rote, right? Like nothing felt new or unique. And then bam, Spider-Verse started. And you're like, I love this. I want to see this all the time. So
If anything comes out of this, it's I hope that animation studios realize they can do different stuff. Like
yeah,
not all Pixar movies have to look like Pixar movies. I think that was fun for a while because it was different from
right.
2D animation. Or maybe you can go back to 2D animation because that's like it looks like it has its own place. I love the little Lego Spider-Man thing. That was so much
Which
fun.
was did you see the backstory on that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think
Animated by a 14-year-old fan, which is cool.
who
And
who
oh,
animated
sorry.
they animated the original trailer in
Yeah,
Lego, and that's kind of how the creators of the movie saw it.
which I love. I mean, in my brain, that feels really fast
Yeah.
for like filmmaking, right? To be like, he did that. Lord and Miller saw it. They hire him to animate a sequence in the movie in Lego. I don't know. It just feels very quick, but
I guess if it was a trailer, it was still like a few years back too. If it was the trailer
was
for
it
the
that
first
long?
one,
I guess so. Yeah,
yeah,
like
because it's
a
been a
teaser
while. It's been a
trailer.
while.
Okay.
Luckily for this one, we don't have to wait much. I think it's out in March 2024. If I'm not mistaken, we get the next one in March
Yeah.
2024. So I'm very much looking forward to it. I love the Da Vinci Vulture. I think was such a cool choice.
Hobie, the fact that he
Oh,
constantly looks like a 1980s punk rock poster and zine, like he's
yeah,
Xeroxed. It was so good. It was so
yeah.
good.
So I
Um,
think it was really cool. I mean, we could probably talk for hours about just all the cool Spider-Man that we got to see.
yeah.
I do want to touch on 2099.
Okay, so all right, so this is a big blind spot for me. I know the character. I never read the comics. So is the origin of him in the movie the origin of him in the comics?
Yeah, it's pretty much it.
Is it
So
really? Okay.
he is not. He doesn't really have the webs. That's why he has to claw his way up the train. He doesn't really. So he's a little bit different from Spider-Man. I did have to go back and check on the fangs thing.
Like the
So
vampire thing? Yeah.
he's not a vampire per se. He
Oh.
just has fangs.
Oh, okay.
But it's a joke that they call him a vampire because I
Okay.
had to go check. I was like, wait, did I miss? Is he a vampire? Because I've read a lot of it, but a lot of the Peter David stuff that I've read, it usually focuses on bringing him back to the present. So we
Weird.
don't really, yeah, which is, I mean, but I like him interacting with Peter and
Yeah.
and Miles and all the other Spider people now. So, but I mean, yeah, Oscar Isaac, very good performance. He
So
was brutal, like he was just brutal towards Miles.
yeah.
It was hard to watch because I like he's my favorite Spider-Man. So like the fact that he's being so mean was
Right. Yeah. Yeah. I kind of wondered what, because I knew that going in. I was like,
Yeah.
oh, how is Danny going to feel about, I mean, because he's basically the bad guy. He's the antagonist here, right? Oh,
I hope that by the end of the next film, Miles convinces him that there's another way because they've already hinted at there's another way to stop these canon events without breaking everything.
right. Because I feel like, well, no, I guess we did see that in the movie.
It was when Captain Stacy, Wen's dad, quit the Force.
Oh,
So his canon event is not going to happen anymore. But
I didn't even pick up on that. That's a good point.
So that was the thing that I was like, okay, I think there's a way to. And I also thought that was really interesting commentary on the Spider-Man fans and even the comic writing, like the stories.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Like, do you always have to kill someone? Like, or
Right.
like, or the fans that always get mad when you bring a character that's supposed to be Spider-Man related, but they don't have the same Spider-Man tropes, right?
Yep.
Um,
Because Miles doesn't have that tragedy in his backstory.
he
does
does later. I believe, and this might be a spoiler for the comics, but I believe his mom dies at some point, which I hope that doesn't happen because I love I love the mom in the
She's
movie.
great. Which again, we needed those moments because we didn't get a lot of her in the first movie.
No, not really. Not
Yeah,
really.
so because it was really him and his dad.
Yeah.
I do also want to give props. You know, it is no secret on this show that I really hate the Clone Saga, and I'm not a fan of Ben Reilly. And the way they treat him in the movie it's Andy Samberg. It's hilarious.
It's so good.
And it's also it's not even just an indictment of the Clone Saga and him as a character. It's an indictment of comics in the 90s, which kind of goes back to what Clay and I talked about last week.
Yeah.
Just it's so funny. I mean, he's in it for all of maybe like 60 seconds, but still it's worth it.
I love the scene where he's perched on the roof and he's like, perfect pose.
Yes, exactly.
So
and then he jumps down, he looks this way. I look at that side of the alley. I look at that side of the alley. Like he's just narrating what he's doing.
Yeah.
So.
It's very well done. I also really enjoy that. And Andy Samberg was a good choice, I think, for that character.
Yeah.
So
yeah, they're good at casting, I think, comic actors to walk that line.
Yeah,
serious and funny. So,
and I guess I love the way they set up like the group at the end, like Gwen's new group.
Yeah,
that's really
cool.
New
band.
Yeah, I love Spider-Man India. Like such a cool addition. He has such a cool look too.
He does. Yeah, after my daughter was like, he was her favorite. He's like, I love his costume and the world that he was in.
Yeah,
looked incredible. Even down to the fact that as that giant hunk of building is falling, I was on the edge of my seat because I'm like, that thing is enormous. I'm really freaked out right now.
I love that how they kind of build down, or like it's a hanging city, which is a really interesting concept.
Yeah.
He was played by, in Deadpool, the cab driver.
Yes. Yep. Who's also in the Ghostbusters reboot with the female cast. He plays the food delivery guy.
Oh yeah. You're right.
So, yeah. Again, usually a comic actor, very very good in this. So,
and the last thing I'll mention, and this is probably the biggest spoiler, I love at the end when we meet Earth 42 Miles.
Yes,
and he takes off his the Prowler mask.
Ooh, man.
And I was talking to my buddy Chewy, and we were like, he sounds. I like that he sounds different. Like his Spanish sounds his Spanish Miles in what is it, 1610 or whatever the other world is. The main Miles. He speaks Spanish, but you can tell he struggles to speak Spanish. But this other Miles felt like he was very clear. Like when he said his last name, and just from that, then later I found out that it was actually they cast a different actor to play.
I was about to say, they cast a different actor for that, which is kind of brilliant.
It's
right?
a great choice, and I love it. I love his look. I love it with the dreads and like everyone's gonna. They're releasing only 100 of those Jordans that he's wearing.
Really? Oh my god!
Yeah. For like friends and family of Sony employees, I think. Yeah.
God. Well, so I had a buddy of mine on another Discord mentioned something that either a friend of his said or like it was on a YouTube video, but it's an interesting theory that didn't hit me until you brought this up. At the end, when Miguel and Ben Reilly and not Wanda, god damn it, Spider-Woman. Issa Rae. I'm blanking on her name. Yes, thank you. When they're the three that go to track down Miles, they're the only three spider people who were not bitten by a spider. Miguel wasn't. Ben, you could argue wasn't because he's just a clone
He's a
of
clone.
Peter,
Yeah,
right? And then Jess wasn't because she got her powers
her powers
different.
are different. Yeah,
Yeah, which is kind of interesting, right? Like if they're so obsessed with maintaining the canon,
hmm
they're the three kind of non-canonical ones.
yeah, they're the outliers. Interesting.
So
I think I might have seen that. I think maybe New Rockstars or somebody did something like that. So I'm sure
probably so.
tons
I
of
think
people talked about
actually
it.
that name rings a bell. I think he may have
Yeah.
named like that. So.
Interesting. I love it. I love that this movie gives you so much to talk about. I hear it's coming out on streaming pretty soon. Like, I don't know if they're accelerating some of these. Like, I know Fast 10 is already out in VOD, which is crazy. Like, it just came out, and I think the Transformers film is also gonna come out pretty quickly.
That like
Not
just
because
hit.
not because it's not doing well. Well, like I think they just want to catch like a holiday
Right. Okay.
break. So, which I won't get too much into it. Transformers versus the Beast. I think it's a lot of fun. If you like Bumblebee, I'm pretty sure you're gonna like this one.
I still haven't seen that one.
You should. I think both are great movies, and you also get Haley, whoever plays Haley Steinfeld.
Stanfield, yeah.
She's also in that. So.
Oh, really? Okay.
But yeah, if anybody watched all this without having seen Across the Spider-Verse, go watch Across the Spider-Verse.
It's incredible.
It's amazing.
So good.
So.
Still in theaters, I think through this week, right?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
So hopefully we may do a full episode on it once the whole gang is back together.
Yeah.
Once we can assemble our crew.
Right. Our band.
We'll think of our canon events.
Oh God. That'll be interesting.
Yeah. So we'll see. We'll talk about our favorite spiders because I feel like we're all gonna have a very diverse.
I think you're right.
Cast of favorite spiders. So. All right.
I'm gonna have to fight Kyle because his is gonna be Ben Reilly. I just know it.
Kupos. Nailed it.
Yeah.
All right, Josh. What else? What else have you been watching, or are you done with movies?
I'm done with movies. Yeah.
Okay. I have a couple more things, and then we'll jump into comics. Then.
Sure.
I started Black Mirror season 6. I watched the first episode. Joan is awful. We have a video for her on the channel. It's really interesting how it's very tonally different than what you expect from Black Mirror. Like there's still a little bit of it's still a cautionary tale, like a dystopian thing, but it's different. It's more comedic. It stars Annie. She's in Schitt's Creek. She's the sister in Schitt's Creek.
Yes. Okay.
And Salma Hayek, who are both really funny.
Nice.
So it's a really interesting concept. Do you know anything about this story concept?
Of that episode?
Yeah.
No.
It's the one where she watches like this Netflix type of streaming show.
Okay.
Do a show about her life. Like almost in real time. So like she lives out through the day, and then when she gets home at night, she puts on I think it's called like Streamberry or something like that. And
so it's like
watching her like the day, but it's all dramatized, like to make her look even worse as a person.
Oh my God.
And that's just the tip of the iceberg. There's so much more. And I like Black Mirror because they're just like usually about 1 hour episodes.
Okay.
This season they're doing something different where one of the episodes actually, as opposed to like some kind of alternate future or a very near future, it's actually gonna be like in 1979, which we hadn't seen them go back in time. Like it's all usually about upcoming technology and stuff like that, right? So
that's cool.
So yeah, I'll keep watching. I'll probably these are cool because I can make videos for each one of them because they're kind of like short movies, really. They're like very small movies. So I watch also, speaking of Netflix, I watched Extraction 2. That's the new Chris Hemsworth movie. That's just like the action.
They made a second one? Sorry, this is how far behind I am.
Yeah.
All right.
And
didn't the first one just come out like last year?
No, that one. So Extraction came out in 2020. I remember because it was the last movie, or it was the last movie we made for when I was doing the movie podcast.
Okay.
Because everything shut down, so we didn't really have a lot of new movies to watch. So Extraction was our last episode of that.
Wow, interesting. All right.
So maybe I'll get the gang back together to do Extraction 2.
There you go. Yeah, totally. How was it?
I think it's fine. I think if you like the first one, you'll like this one. These are just like action-packed movies. They look really cool. Like Chris Hemsworth's really good in them because he's Chris Hemsworth and he's doing his thing of like, hey, watch me take out all these bad guys and then get shot, but then also I can get back up because I'm Chris Hemsworth.
Look,
It's
I'll
very
flex my pectoral and the bullet comes out.
yeah. It's very these are more serious in tone. I wish there was more. I don't know how you can really inject them with comedy. The stories they're telling. I like when Chris Hemsworth's more like when he leans over to the comedic stuff.
Yeah, he's
More-
very good at comedy.
Yeah. And then since I was on Netflix, I watched Barbecue Showdown season 2. It's just a really good. I don't normally like the cooking competitions because it feels very cutthroat.
Okay.
But this one's nice. This one's like they're all like I feel like barbecue's a lot more chill. Just don't watch this on an empty stomach because you will be
Oh,
starving.
God.
By the 3rd episode, I was starving. Watching it. I mean, I love barbecue, so like they're making all the stuff I want to watch. I mean, all the stuff I want to eat.
There's a right by our house. There is a Cuban sandwich place. The guy that studied at El Centro in the culinary department. But I'm not sure if he still does this. But when he opened, we would go. This is before my wife discovered bread gave her migraine. So I would go there and I would order sandwiches for us for dinner, and just waiting for them to make the order. On the flat screen TV behind me always kept on the cooking channel.
Yeah.
And they would be like, I don't know, be some show where they were making hamburgers and then he'd hand me my food. I'm like, God damn, I want hamburgers now. Right. Like, although his sandwiches are always good. They're fantastic. So
I love Cuban sandwiches, even though I don't like pickles. That's the only.
I always get mine without pickles. I hate pickles too.
Yeah.
Solidarity.
And this show's gonna split up because Kyle and Clay probably love pickles.
Right, exactly. All kinds of pickles.
We're gonna splinter off into separate channels. And the last thing I'll talk about, so the show Succession ended a couple of weeks ago. I hadn't had a chance to talk about it, although I did make a video for the finale. But my brother started watching it, and he was telling me about the first few episodes. And I was like, man, that sounds really fun. And I've now started rewatching Succession since the finale. I've rewatched the first 3 seasons of Succession.
Okay.
And now there's one more, which is the final one that I just watched. So it's really interesting to watch a show like this and feel like it's so well done. Like it's just really well written, really well performed. Brian Cox is the foundation of that show.
Yeah.
And he's amazing. Have you ever seen it?
No.
Do you have any interest in it?
I do, just because I like you just said it. I've heard many people just across media say it is just one of the best shows ever.
It's just really well done. I think each season is like 10 episodes of like that are about an hour. So it's not the longest time commitment, but now that it's all kind of out there, I definitely recommend people check it out. So I'll probably be rewatching the last season again pretty soon. I'm about to get real busy because the Righteous Gemstones is coming back this weekend.
Oh, nice. Which I still need to watch that too. So
yeah, there's the new Superman show. The animated show is coming out this weekend too on Adult Swim.
I find this but okay, so I saw the commercial for it and I saw it was on Adult Swim, and those two things looked like polar opposites. The show doesn't look like an Adult Swim show. It looks like a kid's show. Is there something I'm missing? What am I missing?
I don't know. I'm interested to see why they're putting it on there. You can watch it next day on Max, so I will say that you don't have to stress about that. But I don't know. I don't know what the choice was. I think Warner Brothers just wanted their animation because that Cape Crusader show was originally also supposed to go to Adult Swim. I think now it's going to end up at Prime.
It's going to be on Prime, but if you see the trailer for that one, that would make sense. It looks very dark and gritty and noir. The Superman show, it just looks like a kid's show, which I'm not being dismissive. I get
what you're saying. Just like the tone of it doesn't feel like it belongs with Adult Swim, but I don't know. We'll see. Maybe Lobo's going to show up, and then you really have to censor things and put it on the Adult Swim.
All right, if Ambush Bug shows up, you've got to tell me.
I will.
All right.
We'll definitely be talking about that later for sure. So I'm excited for that. But that's really all the stuff I've been watching. There's more. I mean, you can kind of keep track of what I'm watching by the videos we have on the channel, because I might as well make content out of it.
I'm sure. Yeah.
So
you'd be dumb not to. I do have one more thing. I just remembered I watched, and that is the new season of It's Always Sunny dropped last week, and man, I gotta say that that show is it's in a weird place right now, because you could not jump into the season right now if you've never seen it and enjoy it. But it's also not a show that is about all inside jokes like I think Family Guy became. You know, it's just these characters have grown and grown. I'll put that in giant air quotes. There's just been a lot that has happened that you kind of, that they reference. But if you have watched Sunny, it is worth watching the first episode of the season, because there is a plot point that nearly caused me to fall off the couch laughing, because it just, like, somebody, I don't want to spoil anything, but somebody put a screenshot from like the second or third season up that relates to the plot point. And you're like, how did they not deal with this for like 15 years? I'm really impressed. Do you know what I'm talking about, Danny? Have you seen it?
So I've only watched the first season of Sunny.
Oh God, that's the worst.
Yeah. And I think that's why I don't remember, maybe it was on our Discord that I said every time I'm like flipping through the TV, the rerun that it's on is the one where Dee's dating somebody who's handicapped from the military.
Oh,
like for some reason that one's always on. Like that's the one I always catch.
Yeah.
Which is really weird. Or the one where Frank and Charlie Day like are taking out the trash or something.
Yes.
Which,
oh my God.
I love that like you could probably describe a lot of the episodes like in just weird manners like that, and fans will immediately know what you're talking about.
Right, exactly.
But at this point it's a lot. Like what is it, like 16 seasons now?
Yeah, maybe? This is season 16, so
which is too much. It's a lot.
It is, but what's funny is because I started playing their podcast, which is really good. It's like the cast is going back and rewatching all the shows. But it's almost become its own thing. But anyway, that compelled me, because I'd watched it in bits and pieces over the years. So I went back and I just blew through, I think the first 14 seasons, and then watched season 15 is it kind of all 1-to-1.
They're 20-minute episodes, right?
Yeah, they're not long.
Okay.
You could get through them pretty quick. So.
Yeah, maybe one day. It's just with all there's so much good stuff out there, Josh. That's the problem.
Well, and I'm on the opposite end of the of that spectrum, which is I know there's a lot of good stuff out there like Succession, but then I'll just go rewatch like 30 Rock or Sunny or Frasier, so
I'm about due for my rewatch of The League.
Oh, there you go.
My yearly rewatch of The League. I'm about due. So very cool.
But anyway, that's it.
I know a lot of people love Sunny. I love seeing the clips on TikTok or whatever people post them. Like I think they're pretty funny.
Right.
Like the one about the implication comes up a lot.
Yeah. My God.
I also love the reaction of Sunny fans that when it's just a couple of words and you're dead laughing because that's how good the show is, that it just reminds you of all the stuff. And I think they're very funny. I think one of the guys is in that Blackberry movie that just came out.
Yeah, that's Glenn Howerton is in that.
He's the one that was in AP Bio, which I believe it's canceled, unfortunately.
Oh, it's canceled.
I think I love that show. That was
I love that show. That's the one. If it's just my daughter and I like eating dinner, we'll throw on AP Bio, and we're like halfway through season 2. So
I'm glad they each got like a chance to go do their own thing, because I think the actress who plays Dee also had a show on Fox for a couple of seasons.
Yep.
And then obviously Charlie Day is a writer and producer on the Mythic Quest with
Megan Gans and
Michael Haney.
Rob. Yeah.
And then Rob's bought a soccer team, and now they're also doing all that. So
That's buds with Deadpool. So
yeah.
I need to watch that show. I watched the first episode and it looks
The Wrexham, Welcome to
Yeah.
Wrexham. Yeah, it's really fun, and it feels like real life Ted Lasso.
that's
almost,
what
which is insane.
right.
Have you? You know what? I'm surprised Ryan Reynolds hasn't shown up on Sunny. Maybe he will this season.
Oh, you know what? Maybe so. I do know that this season they reunited Breaking Bad. So there's some bit where for some reason Charlie's driving around what is his name? Not Aaron Paul and the other guy.
Okay. Yeah, I just forgot it because you forgot it.
Yeah, exactly. So, but they showed up in the trailer for the season. But I don't know.
Okay.
It would be fun if Ryan Reynolds showed up.
Are they promoting their tequila? Because everyone has a tequila now.
Probably.
If you're more likely to run into both of them at a Costco promoting their drink than at a convention.
That's funny. I
Yeah,
never
yeah.
thought about that.
All right, let's talk about comics. Josh,
Sure.
I'm gonna let you keep going because I think we read a lot of the same stuff.
Oh, okay.
So I'll just kind of jump in.
All right. Well, Captain America Cold War Omega, which wraps up the Cold War storyline.
Yeah. So
Did you read this?
I just benched it yesterday. I read all
Okay.
6 parts yesterday.
Oh, good Lord, man.
It was surprisingly quick.
It is. Yeah, there's a lot of action scenes.
There's a lot of dialogue in issue 1 and Alpha and Omega. There's a lot of dialogue. I will say the art is not my favorite in Alpha and Omega.
I didn't care for it either. Yeah. I didn't like
unfortunately.
the way they drew the characters.
I think it's also the coloring. It's a little dark, like compared to the other
is.
issues.
Yeah.
Like even my main thing is what's his name? Ian Rogers.
Yep.
His hair's black in those 2 issues where it's like I couldn't even tell he was Captain America's kid until the latter issues because he has like his hair's lighter. So like
Right.
I just can't picture Steve Rogers, the blondest guy in the world, having a kid whose hair is like raven dark.
Yes.
You know?
Yeah. No, I agree. I didn't care for the art in this one. I'm also a little torn on how it ended. I mean, I get it.
Yeah.
I didn't hate it. I didn't love it. I'm just kind of meh.
Okay.
Having read more like 8 issues to get here just left me a little pissed off, right?
Okay.
Like this felt like clearly it was it was obviously wrapping up both the Sentinel and the Symbol storylines. I don't know.
I think the whole thing with Bucky and the whole like what's it called? What are
the outer ring and the
star? Yeah, the outer ring.
Yeah.
It's really it feels super complicated for no reason. Like
Yeah.
even to the comic book shenanigans standards, like it feels like it's above that.
Yeah.
And also I didn't feel a lot of Sam's story as part of this.
Right.
Right.
No, I totally agree. And again, I felt like that was my fault because I stopped reading Symbol of Truth because it wasn't really hooking with me. And so I did appreciate the recap, the very brief, like 1 panel recap here of Sam had been fighting the White Wolf guy or whatever.
Yeah.
But
I will say another thing that surprised me, I didn't realize the White Wolf guy was actually going to turn into a White Wolf.
Right, no, me either. I had no idea.
But I love how subtle it was because, like, as like the longer we went on those episodes in the each issue, he was
Mm.
sitting on that throne, and like he started developing fangs, and then his hands started to change a
Oh,
little.
I didn't even pick up on
Yeah, I
that.
think
That's cool.
it was very subtle, and it was definitely closer to the end of the last two issues.
Okay.
That kind of, because at the end of the fifth issue is when you see him fully wolfed out,
Yep.
which is a really cool design. And then
Yeah.
unfortunately, you get to the last issue, and it's like it's not as cool of a design. Like, I think for me, this would have stuck the landing a lot more had the art had the artists on Symbol of Truth, and because they were different artists from both
They
books,
were, but they were both very
but they're
good.
very similar as style. Like
Yeah.
they complement each other very well.
Yeah, I
Um,
agree.
So had they done Alpha and Omega, I would have liked this event a lot more, even with
Well,
all the convoluted stuff.
yeah, and I think I get practically why they did it, because this was an event that had to stay on schedule.
Yeah,
And so it really felt like the artists for Alpha and Omega probably drew these back to back, right? As the other
Yeah.
team were
But,
probably
like-
working on their standard issues. So
but editorial knows the event's coming, right? They're the ones planning it out. Like, give you
Yeah.
artists, or get an artist that complements the art of the look of the other two that you have on the.
that's a good. Well,
I think
I hate to say it. I feel like they tried that, and it just didn't. It just missed the mark. You know, like it just
yeah.
didn't quite work. So
I feel
I do
like
love this cover though. This is the cover I got.
that was a cool one. I
Yeah.
think that character's Unlimited series just ended. Like, you can read about him on Marvel Unlimited. Like, there was a whole thing that.
Oh, I didn't even know that.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, it's really cool. Yeah, but it was fun. I love, like I said, I love the middle issues. There's a confrontation between Sam and Steve that, like, you feel like Steve ends up with the upper hand, and then you realize that he fucked up.
Yeah.
Yeah. And like he's got tunnel vision again, like with just this one thing. I also want to kind of go back and read that if there's a story with him in Dimension Z and his kid.
Yeah, I didn't know about any of that. That was
Okay.
all. Yeah,
I
that's
wish Kyle was here because maybe he
Right,
could tell
yeah.
us.
yeah. Because I mean, because that is and that's the anchor of the story, right? And I didn't know any of that. And honestly, I mean, although they explain it, I feel like it worked better for Steve's character than for
Yeah.
Ian's,
Yeah.
right? I don't know. This is the first, I think, I'll just say, like, event kind of book that I've read in a very long time, and I kind of ended it with, I don't need this. I mean, I loved the initial idea, and I think what hooked me into Sentinel with Steve was the mystery and the conspiracy angle, right? And then it just kind of went off the rails because they never. I mean, the whole. This is a weird, deep cut. The whole Outer Ring just felt like the League of Bad Guys from the Venture Brothers. You know, like.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, I mean, it didn't feel that unique or important. You know, so I don't know.
Okay.
I'll probably read. You know, at the end it says what Captain
750?
America 750. I'll probably read that just
Yeah.
because it's the big anniversary issue.
And it looks like they're gonna have a lot of like creators come back to kind of do little stories on it. So that's
Okay.
always kind of cool.
Yeah.
So yeah, I agree. I think I'm gonna keep like waiting on these arcs to be completed. I'm not gonna. Both of the Cap books are not like something I read as they come out. So I'm gonna keep doing that, but I'll keep following along because I do like their stuff. I love the supporting cast like that everyone has. Oh,
Yeah.
here we go. I think we got Jeff, my buddy from Boomerang Comics. Dimension Z happened during the Rick Remender run, and it's pretty good. Oh, Rick Remender, I'm in. Thanks, Jeff. Yeah, I'll definitely go check that out then because I do like the little flashbacks. I thought that was really well done. Like,
Yeah.
the little flashbacks,
Yeah.
well integrated. And I didn't even know Steve had a kid till this story.
I had no idea. So again, I felt like the heart of the entire. So maybe I would feel differently about this whole storyline if I had read that Remender run, but I
Yeah.
didn't. So
From the
and
context, to me, it feels like, is Ian a clone of Baron Zemo and Steve?
that's what it sounded like.
It feels very Superboy, like
Right.
Lex and
Yeah,
Lex and Clark.
Yeah. But
I-
but also he still considers oh shit, not Peggy,
Sharon?
Sharon, his mom,
His
right?
mom,
So kind of sees like Steve and Sharon as like
Is their
his
parent-
mom and
okay.
dad.
Interesting.
Okay. I don't know. I think ultimately the thing that pissed me off about this is when these two runs began, it was, remember that beautiful first issue with the two of them, Sam and Steve, like working together, issue 0. It was presented as a great jumping on point for new readers.
Yeah.
And then the story just devolves into this. You must have read the Rick Remender line to really get everything out of it, like squeezing blood from a stone. So,
Right.
um,
All right. Jeff's got more information. Steve's kid he's adopted. Steve found him in Dimension Z. Okay. Got it.
so that kind of makes sense about the dark hair. At
Yeah,
least.
yeah.
But I agree. I like the way he looked better in
Okay.
the Sentinel symbol.
Well,
issue.
and even then, like if Sharon and Steve adopted him, like Sharon feels like Steve was just he was willing to like let her, whatever happens.
Yeah.
Yeah. So there's a panel that I clipped out where Steve just tells Sam, "I'm sorry," and he's got like this red eye and like they just
I love the red eye. That was really good.
That was a great detail.
Yeah.
So I think if you're a diehard Captain America fan, you probably want to check this one out for sure. This is not something I would give you to start the character with. Like, it seems a little like this is like a level 2, level 3.
Exactly,
course.
and that's kind of what pisses me off, right? Now, I would hand anyone that issue 0 and be like, "Here,
same.
Read this. It's great, but don't continue." So
check out who did Chris Samney did it with? Was it Mark Waid? It was probably Mark Waid.
I think it was probably Mark Waid.
Go check that one out. That's a great run.
Yeah.
And maybe this Remender run. I mean, I love Rick Remender too, so maybe.
I don't think I've ever read it. I've heard his name. I don't think I've ever read any Remender, so I might have to go back and do that.
He did Deadly Class.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I did. Oh, sorry.
Tell me what else, Josh?
Okay. I hope you read this one. Clobber in Time issue 4.
I haven't. I'm waiting till I'm just gonna read this as a trade, I think.
Okay, so usually I agree with you on that. This you can absolutely read month to month.
Okay.
Until this issue. This issue is the first one I was kind of reading, going, I should probably pull out issue 3 and remind myself, because it picks up right at like this intense moment, but it does explain the weird Watcher we've been getting introduced in every story.
Okay.
That gets explained, and it's going to end in next issue. And I have to say, I've noticed now the big trend is going from 6 issues to 5 issues for a story arc, and I'm not as big a fan of it. I kind of like
that's because
you
get to sell the collection for the same price,
right? Yeah, exactly.
You're giving as one less issue.
Exactly.
This is shrinkflation in comics.
Yes. Oh, such a great way to think about it. It is shrinkflation. But I just want to say the interaction in this issue between Ben and Dr. Doom is just amazing.
Okay.
And there is a gag in this that I just want to give props, is probably one of my favorite, I'll just say Fantastic Four gags, because there's so many good gags in comics. But this one, I mean, the Thing's battle cry at the end of the issue comes directly from the joke, and I was laughing my ass off. It is so good. Yeah, it's just I love this story. I love we're at a place now where we're getting these fun, weird kind of standalone stories. They're not obsessed with it's almost the opposite of like the MCU at this point. We're not getting these obsessive, canon-driven, I'm looking at you, Captain America Cold War, just these fun stories that you can just hand to anyone and just go read this. It's kind of encapsulated. It's good. Just so good. I highly recommend Clobber in Time. Just go read it. It's so fun.
Did you read the Fantastic Four 7, which is also the 700th issue?
Yep, I did.
I think we talked about that one.
We may have, or I may have been out that week.
Because that was one of my favorite Doctor Doom stories.
Yes,
Like, just
that is such a good story
ever. So like,
Yeah.
if you're gonna give me more Doom, you better know that I just read that, and the bar's pretty high.
So I will say this is not as good of a Doom story. It is a good buddy,
Okay.
like mismatched buddy cop story,
Okay,
right?
I do
if you
love
will.
that. I do
Yeah.
love that too.
But yeah, no, nothing will hit the highs of that Doom story in issue 700. It
Dude,
was incredible.
Ryan North. I can't believe I've pulled 8 issues of Fantastic Four.
It's
in 1
God,
year.
it is so like, and I think that's what makes me happy about Clobber in Time. Like, if this had been a book that was very dark and canon driven, it would feel very different from the Ryan North FF series
Yeah.
right now. But this feels like a perfect like appetizer, to
Like a
that,
side
right?
quest almost.
Exactly. Yeah, that's a great way to put it. Yeah, very much like a side quest.
Nice.
Let's see. I also read Doctor Strange.
Okay. How do
Issue
you like it?
4.
I'm behind on that. So
Okay.
out of the stuff you have on your list, I've only read one more thing. So we'll talk about that.
Okay.
But
So I was behind on it, and I just read issue 3 last week. And I want to just say, if you've never read Doctor Strange, or maybe you've only seen the movies, right? Go pick up the one before this one, issue 3. Because it is, I don't recall, I think it's called like A Day with Dormammu. And it is excellent. It is basically, the idea of the last issue is, like, it seems like every year, Dormammu inhabits one of his followers and he and Stephen Strange spar. And what I love is there is this background gag, and because the whole issue really truly feels like like a I keep comparing it to the famous Sandman issue after the first big storyline where he just ends with death. It feels like that, but funnier to a certain degree. So it's just a conversation between him and Dormammu, or maybe a better comparison would be all the stories with Jack and Starman where he meets with his dead brother.
Okay.
All right, that's probably a better comparison. But it's just him and Dormammu talking while fighting. And what's great is the conversation is seamless, but the background constantly changes, showing how they're sparring. And so, for instance, every time Dormammu starts the spar, it's like a big mystical creature Steven's fighting. And then when it goes to Steven sparring, it's like them playing chess and like a park in Central Park, you know?
Cool.
So it's like the way they do it is very different. And it has this great ending. So again, perfect, like, sorry, my dogs are going nuts.
It's all right.
It's perfect, like, encapsulated one issue story. This one takes a turn, but if you've been reading the series, it dovetails back into what's kind of interesting about this series so far is that the main stories tend to be pretty short and they have a backup story. And the backup story typically has been the reformation of a group that I'm new to. I've never heard of, called Wand. So it's like mystical shield. All right. So Wand stands for witchcraft, alchemy, necromancy department.
Oh, cool.
And it's apparently like, again, like the magic user shield, but it's been reformed with Wong. I don't know this character, but she's like the mainstay of Wand. And then there's a backup story that explains how they get the third member, and I don't want to spoil it. I think it's in issue 2. This issue though just focuses on them. Oh. So the main story is them, and then the last page ties into the ongoing Stephen Strange and Clea story.
Okay.
So this is not the one you can jump into. I'll just say that. You have to kind of read everything up to that point. Still very good. I love the covers. Yeah, this is great.
Yeah, I definitely want to catch up. I do like what I was reading from Doctor Strange. I believe this is still Jed McKay, right?
Yeah. Mhm.
Yeah. So
Yeah. Great writing. Excellent.
is this the last issue? I think I saw Alred talking
It's
about
the
that.
second to last issue. So
Okay.
again, this is issue 4, another 5-issue arc, right? It's good.
This is one of those books that is like, this is almost like just for Josh.
Yes, exactly. That's
Like-
a good way to put it.
Like out of the podcast, this is really mainly for you. Maybe
Yeah.
somebody else will read it, but like these are just made for you.
Yeah. No, it's good. I still hate the way they're handling the season numbering. But it's kind of, I will say this. I feel like the main story they're telling is kind of being dragged out a little too long. But I get the impression that the main story they're telling is just the only story they're telling. This is clear. I really don't think this is going to be an ongoing book at all. I think it's just going to be this storyline kind of one and done, which is a bit sad. I like revisiting these characters. I like having Allred and Milligan back together again. But anyway, yeah, it's good. It's fine. I feel like the characters are kind of remaining a little static, which is annoying. So there's not a lot of growth. Oh, you're muted, Danny. Oh, okay. And then I'll talk about Planet of the Apes. Yeah, God, this book. This is issue 3. It is fantastic.
I love what they're doing with this series.
Yeah.
I think I just read that one last night as well, because I think I saw it on your notes and I was like, oh, I better catch up so we can actually talk about it. But visiting these different eras and kind of building the story that way,
Yeah.
it's really good. I love what they're doing with, like, just, I mean, the covers too, they're so cool. And
Oh God, I know. I love this cover. And also I feel like the way they're structuring the story feels cinematic. Like you read it and it feels like a storyboard to a Lost Planet of the Apes movie or even like a show.
Yeah.
I mean, it's really good. But the backup story in this one I really like because it starts to explain how they're learning on their own beyond beyond the interaction with the humans.
yeah.
I really dug that. I don't know, I have no idea where this is going, but the writing is just top notch. The art is great.
I love how the expressions that they are able to capture in the apes, and then also the fact that, like, the apes know something's up. Like, they're not, I feel like they're kind of, even with the humans that are protecting them, I feel like they're kind of playing along until it's maybe not convenient for them to keep doing so.
Right. They're wary, but I mean, but also they're with them for, there's like a 3-year jump in this.
Yeah.
Right. So they're with them a very long time. So
Ape Cruise.
Ape Cruise, yeah, exactly. But I mean, but to your point, I hadn't really thought about that. You're I so agree. The expressions for the apes are so pointed, but even to the point where all the human bad guys, you don't see their faces a lot.
Right.
So here we get this Joe Rogan type podcaster. You get this guy who shows up again later. It's like you don't see their faces. And I think that's a really interesting visual motif.
Yeah. This is the most I've been into the Apes franchise, like, since the movies, since the last batch of movies.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just really good. Really good.
And I said this last time, I think, as well. I love how this storyline is filling in the gap between the first reboot movie and the second and third ones, which, as much as I love those movies, you kind of go into the feeling like, how did we get from point A to point B, right? This is explaining that, and it's really awesome. I meant to check this. Is the writer on this someone that worked on
David Walker? I'm not sure. I'm not sure.
Okay.
I've heard. I know he's done other comics. I've like David
Okay.
F. Walker. Like his name sounds very familiar when it comes to comics, but I don't know exactly.
Okay.
So
Well, just two more, but really one. Miss Truesdale in the Fall of Hyperborea. Did you read this?
not that one. I've read the first one and I
Okay.
really enjoyed it. This is the Jesse Lonergan comic, right?
Yes, but actually written by Mignola.
Yeah, right.
Yeah. So I don't know what to make of this book. I like it. The art is great. The story basically like this entire title is kind of it's both a misconceit and as direct as possible.
Yeah.
Right. It is Miss Truesdale in the Fall of Hyperborea, but basically what that means is you're reading the story of Hyperborea in the far distant past, like that kind of Conan era. How it ever ties into the Hellboy universe, I'm still unsure about. And then in the 19th century, a woman who's having these dreams or flashbacks or memories of the main character of that. And so far, there's no overlap other than that, right? That's it. It's just her having these memories of another person, probably in her deep genetic past, right? Like there at the fall, and that's it. And it's very violent. It's very fun. It's very action oriented. I don't know. I don't know what else to make. I'm definitely hooked. Like I want to know what the hell is going on. So I'll keep reading it, but I feel like again, because there's a lot of Hellboy lore I'm not aware of, that there's a lot here I'm missing.
Yeah.
And I would love to hear from people that are deep in the Hellboy universe to explain.
I talked to my buddy Nick from the I Read Comic Books podcast, because he's big on Hellboy. Good. And I asked him about it before I read the first one. He said Hyperborea just really has to do with like a sword that Hellboy carries at some point.
Oh,
and that's really where that's really the big connection. I don't know if there's going to be something else in the future, but so far this is pretty much standalone on its own. So
okay, all right. Well, that's good to know. And then finally, I haven't read it yet because again, I'm just going to save them. Superman Lost.
I picked that up as well. I haven't read it. I did read 1, 2, and 3. This is 4, right? Yeah. So I read the first 3, and I'm really enjoying it. Much like with Batman Fortress, this just feels like a really fun separate storyline for Superman. So
like standalone, non-canonical.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. It almost feels Black Label, but they don't really put the title on it.
Right, because I felt about Fortress that why was this not like an Elseworlds book, or I think I even asked like a Black Label book,
especially the way it ended with Fortress. So it makes me wonder about this one.
Right, exactly.
And this one feels like seeing art like this. The art for this to me feels closer to what Carlos Gomez did on the Alpha and Omega for Captain America.
Oh, right.
But I feel like it fits here where I feel like it didn't fit. So it's not really anything against the art. It was just more about the choice to put it in what story you were putting it in.
I agree. Yeah.
So, because I think Derek Robertson has also a very similar style to Gomez. Like the colors are very dark and heavy.
Yep.
But for Fortress, that was a perfect fit. Like it's more of the dissonance of like going from one art style to a very different one.
Yep.
That really that's kind of what took me away from those. But
and I'll say, if you haven't read Batman Fortress yet, the collected volume's coming out next week.
I think so. Yeah, pretty soon. So
pick it up. It's great. One of the best Batman stories I've read in recent years. So
I could not agree more. So I'm glad. Yeah, that one. I guess, was it last year technically? I don't know.
I believe so. It kind of. I think it overlapped.
Yeah.
2 calendar years.
This year. Yeah, it might end up on my short list of like best stuff of the year. Just
I wouldn't doubt.
We'll see. There's a lot of good stuff though this year.
I may throw it into the comic book club for 2024. So
great.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I just assume we'll be getting a Batman movie next year.
I
So.
mean, I think so. I think the second Batman movie is next year, right? The other Pattinson movie, maybe,
Oh,
or is that 2025? I don't know.
I don't
Interesting.
know.
Yeah, because
Good point.
it's been since 2022 for the other one.
Yeah, you're
So
right. It has been almost 2 years. So.
We're due for a Batman.
We are due. Yeah, I mean, we can't go more than 3 years without a Batman movie.
Even though this year we're already getting a movie with Batman in it.
Right. We're effectively getting a Batman movie.
Listen, if you give me a Batman something every year, I won't complain. I refuse to complain. So
a Batman movie a day keeps
the Joker away.
Danny away.
Keeps me in the theater. That's what it does.
Yeah.
All right, I got a couple more things I want to talk about. First of all, Batman Incorporated number 9. This continues the Joker Incorporated storyline. So if you want to see a bunch of psychopath clowns and clown-like characters, like I really like the name of that character is Dusty Bronco, and it's just like a clown from a rodeo.
That's awesome.
You get all kinds of clowns and characters from all over the world, like this guy's from France.
That makes that tracks.
Or no, this guy's from Spain, I think. Yeah, this guy's from Spain. There's a mime-looking clown that is from France,
like a Harlequin
really
kind of thing.
fun. What's that?
Like a Harlequin?
It's more like a mime, just a mime, not so much.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, not so many frills, just very black and white.
Okay.
But yeah, this is just a fun, like, Batman's not in this book, but like it's all the other characters that are like, if you read Morrison's Batman Inc. and you want to see more of those characters led by Ghostmaker, who's the Tinian creation, this book, like, it's just really cool. John Timms, his style is very unique, like very dynamic. Let me see if I can find a good page to show you. Like, just I love the way he designs. Oh, here, this one's pretty grim, but
oh wow,
yeah, like I will say, this book is very edgy, kind of. So if you like some edgy comics, like which I do every once in a while. I mean, I just finished Nemesis Reloaded a couple of weeks ago, so you don't get more edgelord than Millar writing Nemesis. Speaking of Image stuff that's edgy, so this week I read Void Rivals.
I didn't get a chance to read
it. Don't worry, I won't spoil it. I think Kyle wants to talk about it. Maybe he'll do a video. He asked me for it. So Image sent us a PDF, but not till the release date. So this was really interesting. There's a big spoiler that I won't spoil.
Okay.
But let me just tell you, this is a Robert Kirkman book with art by Lorenzo De Felici. They did one of his apocalyptic books, Oblivion. Something Oblivion, I forget. But this book is not something I was expecting. I think it's gonna kick off a really big thing over at Image that I think had previously been news, and I'm just being very vague on purpose.
Okay.
But just know that I think it's well worth it. It's really well worth it. So once you do read it, Josh, let me know what you think.
I just downloaded it to check it out. So,
okay.
But so is it, again, no spoilers, but you said related to another thing at Image. Is it playing off of another Image title?
Not exactly, but I think once you see it, you'll know exactly what I'm talking about.
Okay.
But I don't want to spoil anything. I don't want to spoil anything because I think going into this book, not knowing what's going on, but even the premise of this book is really fun. Like even without that, because so that's a very small part. Like that spoiler I'm talking about, it's a very small part of this book too. This book is more about like, do you remember at the beginning of Kong where we have John C. Reilly versus like this Japanese fighter pilot, but they're both stranded on the Kong Island, and to survive they have to work together.
Right.
That's the premise of this book. It's like two warring space factions, two pilots crash land on this void, and they're rivals, which is like the name's right there. It was telling you what it was. But if they want to survive and maybe get out of this alive, they're gonna have to work together.
Interesting. Okay.
But all that stuff goes completely against everything they've been trained for and their programming. So I'm very interested. It's a really interesting premise. Like I said, it's really that scene from Kong Skull Island, just that one small
That
opening
one
scene.
scene.
And the last thing I'll talk about is two things real quick. I don't know where I did with my physical copy, but Queen of Swords #1 came out this week from Vault Studios or
Okay.
Vault Comics. This is out of the pages of Barbaric. So if you've read Barbaric by Michael Moretzi, that's the story about this barbarian that wields an axe that drinks blood, and it tells him who to kill.
Oh,
It's in that same world. So this is like a fantasy book, but it's like, once again, big weapons, extreme stuff, a lot of humor. I think Michael Moretzi is a very fun writer, and I won't show us here, but I did pick up one of the polybagged undressed
Oh
variant
my.
covers. Yeah. So because I actually, oh shit, sorry, Josh. I love Layla Lace. I love her art; is amazing. So like, I wanted to see what was under the bag. Unfortunately, I can't show you guys, so we'll get kicked off of YouTube.
Now,
yeah.
okay, so I was intrigued by this book, but I didn't pick it up because plastered across the top was following from the pages of Barbaric, which I'd never read. If I haven't read Barbaric, will I not understand anything happening in this book?
Great question. You can read this as a standalone thing.
Okay.
If you have read Barbaric, I think you'll see some connections and you might get a little bit more out of it. But I'm not current on Barbaric. I fell behind. So this is a completely different thing. All new characters in the same kind of world.
Okay.
So yeah, it is great. Corin Howell's art is fantastic. It really fits to like this. It's fantasy, but it's not dark fantasy. Like it's a really fun mix. It's like a really unhinged game of D&D.
Yes, I love those.
So yeah.
Okay, well, you sold me on it. I will try and grab it when I'm at my store this week. So,
and I was gonna tell you, we've been working with Dynamite's now kind of sending us stuff. They sent me the new Pathfinder and the new Starfinder book. So I'm gonna send those over your way because
yes, please.
I have no interest in reading them.
I think I know Clay just started reading some of the Pathfinder comics too, so he might want to read that one. But I want to check out the Starfinder.
I think the Starfinder one comes out next week. I think because I just got it. We just got an email about it. I am mainly reading Dynamite for their Disney villain stuff, like the Scar and the Maleficent.
Right. Yep.
There's a Hades book coming out soon too.
Really? Oh, that's interesting.
Yeah, Disney has great villains. So
who's writing that? Because I feel like you have to have
Hades one.
A really, I mean, because he's so funny as well. And so I feel like you have to have.
Woods.
Yeah, exactly. I mean,
It's Elliot Kalan, who I don't know anything about them.
Okay.
Let me see if I can see anything else they've done. Maniac of New York, which is a book I've been meaning to read. Spider-Man and the X-Men. And the Let Them Live DC, the Tales from the Vault of DC that came out on the DC Infinite.
Yep.
He did a few stories there too.
Okay.
So
all right.
Yeah, I don't he was a former writer for The Daily Show.
Oh, all right. I'm in. That was the thing I needed. We some kind of comedy chops, I feel like.
So. Yeah. No, I think this will be, and the Hades book comes out on the 16th. Which the reason I know about it is because Jay Lee said at the convention last weekend that he was working on some covers for that one, which has been announced, and he's working on more covers for books that he can't talk about yet. So they're doing more Disney villains, which I don't know why they hadn't done this sooner. Like Disney has really good villains.
Yeah, they really do. I mean,
very intriguing. And if you're like when we were younger watching up those films, like maybe we didn't want to know all the stories for the villains, but now that I'm older and I want to know more complex stories, like, yeah, the villains are the one. I don't care so much about what Simba's up to, but like, yeah, how did Scar get to be the way he is, right?
Right.
Or with Hades, like, why is he such a dick?
So what unannounced villain do you want to see next?
I I'm trying to let's see. That's a good question. I think Jafar would be cool.
Oh, that would be. Ooh, that would be cool. Yeah.
I love Aladdin. I'm just kind of going to my favorite. Uh, I, what's the name of the guy from the Hunchback?
Oh Jesus.
The he's like a priest or something.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. He's in the
Yeah.
novel too.
Maybe that one. I don't know if they'll do that one. I think, yeah, I don't think they do a lot of Hunchback stuff anymore.
Frollo.
Frollo, yeah.
Yeah.
Um, I think a Gaston book would be funny from Beauty and the Beast.
Gus Stone.
Yeah, Beauty and the Beast. He's the handsome hunter that's trying to kill the beast.
That's his name. I thought it
Yeah,
was.
I'm pretty sure. Don't make me doubt myself. I've watched. Listen, if
Yeah.
there's, I know
Well,
movies.
there's a
from the
song with his name in it. It's Oh, Gaston. Jesus. All right. I'm sorry. I misheard it. That was my
Okay,
problem. I split them into two words. Yes, I would love a Gaston.
Yeah, I think that could be
Fuck.
really funny.
Oh God, that would be good.
And then Dynamite is relaunching Red Sonja with Stephanie Phillips, I
I
believe.
saw that. Yeah.
So like I'm glad that we're working with Dynamite a little bit more now to get some of these reviews and stuff up in a timely manner. And the Maleficent book is really good. Sully is doing the art and the story, and it takes place in the dark forest. So I hope we get to see the dragon form soon because that's one of my favorite Disney designs.
I've never seen that movie.
Really, it's
Sleeping Beauty is just one of the movies that I just missed, and
really,
and I really wanted to see the live action Maleficent film as well, but I haven't seen that either. So
yeah, I'm not big on the live action movies. I know the Little Mermaid looks like it's doing very well. Like people are really enjoying that, but like
I don't like the remakes, but Maleficent the film felt like something very different, right? It was like these comics. It was like, let's go to the backstory.
Yeah, and there's two. So I mean,
okay,
so there's two of those. So I mean, something must have gone well if they did a sequel to the Maleficent, and it's Angelina Jolie. So like, if anything, she's just gonna look really good as Maleficent.
Yeah, exactly.
Like she has the cheekbones of a villain.
They're like, we don't even have to do makeup or prosthetics. This is great.
But as far as the live action remakes, I've only seen the Jungle Book.
Okay.
Which I think it was around the time that Jon Favreau had just done Iron Man, so I wanted to watch more of his stuff.
Right.
And then Aladdin because I love Will Smith and I'm a big fan of Guy Ritchie, so that.
I haven't seen any of them. I mean, I almost kind of wanted to watch Beauty and the Beast, but then my heart's like, just go watch the original because I love the animation. So
I feel the same way because they're also the problem with these movies is that they're also making them longer.
Oh, okay.
So they're adding stuff that maybe works, maybe it doesn't. I don't know. But the original length of these stories I already enjoyed. So you're gonna have a hard time. And then the other thing is you call them live action, but then something like The Lion King is well, this is just a CGI.
Right. Yeah.
It looks real, but it's not. I wouldn't call it live action.
Right.
Real Please don't try to do it with real lions.
It's like, what's that movie? I'm sure Clay has seen it from the 70s that had oh God, it had like actors in it, some famous actors, but it was all filmed with real lions. And it was like a freaking disaster. I mean, it was like one actor who became famous in the 80s, she was a young girl in it at the time, and she almost got scalped by a lion during the filming of that. What is this movie?
I don't know.
I feel like Draft House, I only know of it because Draft House did it as one of their midnight,
We might need to do a whole show on that.
Yeah. 70s movie with lions.
I think live action animals peaked with Mr. Ed.
Yes, exactly.
So there's no need to try anymore. You already made the horse talk with the peanut butter. So while you look for that,
Oh, it's called Roar.
Roar. Of course it is.
Of course it is. Hang on, let's see. And it has Melanie Griffith
Oh,
was super young in it, and again was almost like brutally harmed.
Yikes.
Let's see. Oh, it's a William. Oh wait, no. Anyway, all right, go ahead.
The last thing I'll talk about, and I think I might have shared, maybe I shared this with you guys or not. Ed Brubaker and Sean Phillips put out a new book.
Nice.
It's called Night Fever. It is completely separate from everything that they've been doing, like the Reckless stuff and all that.
Yeah.
It's really good because, of course, it is. I mean, it's these two guys. I don't. Well, and then colors by Jacob Phillips, who I feel when he's, I like. I'm glad he's doing his own things because I think when he's kind of lumped in with these two guys. Oh shit! Sorry. When he's lumped in, I was about to rant. That's why. When he's kind of lumped in here, like he doesn't get his due, but he's such a crucial part of these comics.
Okay. Yeah.
But this one's really cool. It's about it's like people who try to sign what do you call it? Like find books to like a publisher. I guess. But he's trying to find
like
he's trying to find books that are undiscovered to publish, and
Okay.
He's in Europe, and he just kind of stumbles onto this weird night, and things keep getting weirder. And of course, there's a big mystery crime aspect to this because that's kind of what Ed Brubaker and Sean Phillips are really good at. But this one was so, I can't remember the last time I couldn't stop reading. I read this in one sitting, like in, I don't know, 35, 45 minutes.
Nice.
It's very quickly paced, and it's called Night Fever because it really feels like it's just kind of devolving into this weird I don't even know how to explain it, but it almost feels like a nightmare as you're kind of getting in there. Like, are you gonna wake up, or like is this character gonna be able to get out of it? And yeah, it's just really well done. So for one of these one and done, I think it's only like 128 pages. So like I said, it's a quick read. If I haven't, I'll send you guys the preview, and we have a video on the channel for it. So I am very excited to. And in the back, Brubaker talks about how they just wanted a break, but by taking a break, he means doing another book, not so much like actually taking a break,
right? Yeah,
from work.
Yeah, exactly.
So yeah, I mean, it is really well done. Like, I don't know, it almost feels like a genre of books that I love to revisit every couple of months. Like, in between all my superhero stuff, like I also need a break, so I just read one of these.
I need to read more of them. I read Pulp.
I mean, so that one you're starting pretty high too. So you set the bar yourself pretty high. But this one's, I think this one's a good one too. It's a very different tone.
Yeah.
And then these are not, I mean, for a hardcover, it's $25, so it's not like it's not like the most expensive. Like, they're usually pretty well designed and really cool, good quality. I mean, you can see this is the cover, so like it's gonna look super cool.
Yeah.
Sometimes they also sometimes they sorry, I got a new layout, and it's
no problem.
Sometimes they also send a few like things that include a signed little card already in them, which is cool. Yeah, these books, they just kind of don't miss. They're just so. I talked about it in my review that I don't know if you remember from Parks and Rec where Ron destroys a chair that he was working on because he said it looked too good that it was almost like if it was machine made.
Yes.
These books are such high quality that it feels formulaic and like it's like manufactured in a factory where like this is where you get good comics, like just by this. But it's not, right? It's still like them creating some. It's really weird. It's really weird because I don't want that to sound like a slight where that they're just kind of putting out the same thing. I just mean the quality. They've gotten to a point where they really perfected how they work together so well.
So so is it fair to say they're two creators working at each of their pinnacle together?
Yeah,
And they're just knocking out good comic after good comic. And
Yeah.
it's not, I mean, so yeah, you could say it's maybe after a while feels formulaic, but it's also them just working so well together, you know?
Yeah. There was a few things. I know Sean Phillips doing the lettering. There was a few things where I don't know if it was for effect that the word bubbles look kind of weird. Maybe when you read it, you can tell me, because
Okay.
I know you have a good eye for that kind of stuff too. Listen, you're the art historian. You have what is it called? Damn it! What does Kevin Smith say? Shit, I forgot the word. It doesn't matter. But you have credibility when it comes to that.
Oh, well,
Oh,
thank
you're
you.
bona fides. Bona fides.
Oh, bona fides. Okay. Yeah.
That's why I couldn't remember the word, because it's a fucking nonsense word.
That is true. That is absolutely true.
Oh man, I was in the same room. Last week I was in the same room as Kevin Smith,
Oh,
and I
so
couldn't see him
jealous.
because they did have him. They had, he was one of the ones that they had like a little curtain off area
Oh,
where you
okay.
can't even see him. Also, Chevy Chase makes sense to put him aside, like where people can't.
Yeah.
It's not a really big line, even though like
I'm not surprised.
it's crazy, dude. It's crazy.
I feel like he really shit the bed with just all of his antics around Community and just kind of being a grade A asshole. So I was just shocked. I mean, I know they did as part of the Vacation reunion, right? Like they brought in the actor that played his wife. She was there.
Yeah.
But anyway, I don't know. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, even after all that, there's still so many people that just kind of want to meet him. That was
Yeah, I see that.
That was insane to me. So, but whatever. Spend your money however you like. I think that's it. That's all I have. We're kind of at an end. I mean, we did almost 2 hours, even though we said it's probably gonna be.
I was gonna say, yeah. That's good. I mean, I haven't seen you in like 2 weeks, so
yeah, me too. I miss you. I miss doing this. Thanks for jumping in. I knew we talked about maybe postponing, but hopefully Clay's back from Hollywood ASAP.
Yes. And he can tell us all about how the car got into the multiverse.
I just want to know if Jason Momoa is really as tall as he looks.
Or is he more like a Tom Cruise?
Yeah,
like,
yeah. Just apple boxes.
Like what, 5'4"?
Apple boxes everywhere.
Love
cool.
it.
Well, let's move on to recommendations real quick. Close out the show.
Sure.
What do you got, Josh?
I got a twofer actually. One I came up with while we were talking. I'll do that one first. In honor of hang on, let me share my screen real quick. In honor of John Romita Sr.'s passing, I thought it would be good to point out, and I'd totally forgotten this. This just came out like a few weeks ago, I think, but IDW has released a paperback edition of the John Romita Spider-Man Artisan Edition. So it usually retails for $40. You can, I say, go to your local comic book store and buy it there. But Amazon seems to have it for $25. But usually these artisan editions are like $150 in, hardback. But the paperback ones are a good way to get in there and see them. What they do, if you've never seen this before, is they painstakingly photograph the original art pages. So you get all of the oh Jesus, sorry. You get all of the paste ups, you get all of the white correction. I think they even photograph them in a way where if the artist used non-photo blue, that shows up. So it's just a really good way, I think, to see what he was talking about in that video, right? His brush work, the way that he sort of plans out blacks and, and whites, and just just to really see the artistry of it and kind of revel in that for a much cheaper price than those massive hardback ones that are quite expensive.
Okay. Yeah, because I'll definitely be getting one next year when that Batman Year One comes out.
Oh yes, I know. I want that one too.
I need it.
God, I love Mazzucchelli. Well, sorry, I like that era Mazzucchelli. not as big a fan of his more recent stuff. And then finally, just a weird oddball one, but it's free. I found this free software called Playnite, Playnite, and I'm using it to kind of fill a gap that some other software I'd been using did for me, which was, if you play a lot of games, you have these libraries in different places, right? Steam, maybe Blizzard, but all these different places. This software, you go in and you basically sync up all of your gaming accounts, including like Xbox and PlayStation, and then it creates one unified library for you. And for me, it's great because, like, how often do I did it again. I'm sorry. How often do I buy a game on like Steam and then later get it on Xbox? This will show you have it in both places, but also you can launch the game from it, right? So I just use it as my go-to. If I'm going to play a game on my computer, I just pop up Playnite and look what I have installed, and then just click on it and it launches up, and it's completely free. It has different themes you can install and so on, but yeah, just I just like it as a easy way to kind of manage my incredibly vast gaming library. So
Flex.
Flex. Yes.
Flex.
Yes. Check out these gaming guns.
That's right. Well, I have a book that I want to. Let me see. Hold on one second. I was going to show you just the cover, but I think it'll be more impactful if I can show you the actual preview. Oh, no, these are advanced copies. Hold on. Let me see if I should be able to show this. Yeah. So next week we are getting a new. Well, first of all, if you want more Tom King, but now in his Wonder Woman era, you can read the first story of Wonder Woman in the Wonder Woman 800 that's coming out next week.
Okay.
Which will introduce Wonder Woman's daughter. It'll also be like it's a big issue. Like it's got a lot of different artists and stuff coming out. But what I wanted to see, is it like a full screen to this? I'm not very good with box. Let's see. Whatever. All right. So what I wanted to show you guys is next week we're getting Nightwing 105.
Ooh, nice. God,
and so this issue is a little bit special because the whole issue is drawn from Nightwing's point of view.
Oh, wow.
So that's what you can see in the cover, right?
Yeah.
And let me show you let me see. Is it going to show me? Okay, so this is some preview pages. You can see these are public, so don't think I'm showing you anything you can't see. But as you can see, he's picking up bats, or not bats, Batwing, and seeing himself in the mirror. Let me see. So this is kind of him waking up next to Barbara Gordon.
Boy, I've had that thought before.
Yeah, and I just love the approach. I think Bruno Redondo's doing something really fun. I don't know if this has been done before. I'm sure it probably has.
I don't think it has. I mean, not in a superhero book that I can think of.
So yeah, you can see here, and I love that there's reflections all over to kind of like guide you into what's going on. So yeah, I think it's a really fun concept. I love what Tom Taylor and Bruno Redondo have been doing with the book. So yeah, and I love this, like, him putting on his visor, like, just really, it's a really interesting exercise, I think, in art. So I'm very much looking forward to it. So there's a lot of really good books coming out next week. Like, I can't recommend you guys pull everything, but if I just show you, oh, wait, can I show you? Oh, I'm just gonna show you real quick what's on my pull list, and I haven't. This is just everything I want to check out. This isn't everything. Like once I'm at the shop, decisions get made, and there's more.
Yeah, exactly.
But we have the Avengers series, which is really good. World's Finest. I love all these like DC stuff. There's a new Jeff Lemire book, part of his Bone Orchard Mythos stuff.
Ah, right. Okay.
The next issue, Scar. Where you get new Hulk starts next week. The Ultimate Invasion, as I mentioned.
Boo.
Wild's End from Boom Studio. It's a new book. This one's actually pretty interesting.
Yeah, who's
By
the team on that?
Dan Abnett.
Dan Abnett. I love Dan Abnett.
Yeah,
Alright.
and I don't know INJ Colbert. I don't know them. So, but it's yeah, it's just like some alien occupied stuff. It looks really interesting. All the characters are like anthropomorphized animals.
Oh wow.
So
Okay.
yeah, it's a good time for comics. I think
I agree.
a good time for comics. So that's all we have, Josh. Anything else you got?
Now that I can think of.
Okay.
Nope.
Oh, I think something just changed. Something feels weird. Something feels off.
That boom scared the shit out of me.
I'm sorry.
No, it's fine.
Barry's fucking around with the Speed Force again.
Come on, Barry, get your shit together.
Yeah. But yeah, I'm very excited. On the channel, we'll have a lot of fun stuff. Like I mentioned, we'll have more coverage. I recorded a bunch of panels at the convention, like sketch duels and the James Tynion stuff.
That's awesome.
And then hopefully, I asked a few people that I know to record some of the other panels. So I haven't looked at any of the footage to see if it's usable. So it's I can only be in one place at the time.
Again, we need to clone you.
Hopefully, what I'm trying to do is get into the convention as media.
That would be cool.
So we'll see if that works. But yeah, we got a bunch of movie reviews. I do want to say to whoever, like, our review for Transformers Rise of the Beast is at like 351 views. I shot that in the hotel I was staying at. Like, it is. That tells me that you guys came for what I was gonna say about the movie and not the quality of the video, because it is shit. It looked like shit.
You have a trusted audience, Danny.
Yeah,
they want to hear what you say, not the quality of the video. No awesome swipes. No
Yeah, that makes me feel better. So yeah, there's a lot of cool stuff coming to the channel. So, and then like I said, a bunch of comic reviews, and Kyle's interested in doing some reviews. So I don't know what's gonna come out of that. We'll let you guys know. But yeah, thanks to Carlos that stopped by, Jeff for the info on Dimension Z.
Yeah, thank you.
Go check out Boomerang Comics over in Louisville. Great shop. It's a little far from me, but I do love going every once in a while. They do a comic book club as well.
Oh,
I think
nice.
this month, what are we reading this month? Sentient by Jeff Lemire and Gabriel Walter.
I think we're also reading that in our comic book club at the end of the year.
Oh, great. Then I'll just want to reread it.
You'll have to read it, yeah.
Great. I should have been getting the outro while we did all that, but all right. Well, thanks for watching, everyone. Share, like, subscribe, all the YouTube stuff. So we'll see you later.
All right. You guys take care.
The most important thing in life will always be the people in this room. Right here. Right now. Salute, mi familia. Salute.
Thanks, everyone, for watching.
Peter loves you.
Oh, yeah. Clay?
Hail, Bebo.
Josh, Simon Center, get the fuck